Hello everyone. Quite frankly, I've forgotten what day it is now. I think it's day 7, but I might be wrong. Anyway, I thought today I'd give you another tale from the dining room. And today's tale is about a strawberry called Sammy, who's not quite what he thinks he is. So, as usual, we start with once upon a time. So, once upon a time, there was a garden, and in the garden there was a stream which trickled down behind the back of the hedge. And in this garden there was a potager, which is the French word for vegetable patch. And the reason I'm using the French word is because this beautiful garden was in France. Well, luckily for us, the fruit and vegetables all spoke English, which is probably just as well, so we can understand what they were saying. There was this strawberry called Sammy, and sometimes Sammy was not very kind to his friends who shared the potager with him. In the top bed there were the herbs, or as the French say, des fines herbes. There was parsley, who was all curly. There was sage, whose leaves were soft like velvet. Lovely. Thyme filled the air with wonderful perfume. There was mint, and mint liked nothing more than to share a pot with new potatoes. And then there was rosemary, and rosemary was the cleverest of all the herbs, because if you rub rosemary and smell it, it reminds you of all the things you've forgotten to do and helps you remember things when you're doing exams. Tucked away behind the herbs was a large patch of rhubarb. And the rhubarb had great big shiny leaves and bright red stems. But one day, Sammy Strawberry yelled across, "Oi, Ricky Rhubarb!" He said, "You think that you're wonderful, but actually you're not a fruit." This made the rhubarb very sad, because he was used to being made into pies like his friends the apples, so he'd always assumed that he was a fruit. Well, Sammy didn't stop there. He'd got started, and he was jolly well going to carry on. In the middle bed there were some turnips and cabbages, and there was also a tomato plant. And he yelled, "Oi, Tommy Tomato, you think you're so special, but in fact you're not even a vegetable." Tommy Tomato was very sad. He'd always thought he was a lovely vegetable that people like to have in their salads. Suddenly, Tommy's friend, Archie, the Jerusalem artichoke, stood up and said, "Don't you speak to Tommy Tomato like that." And Sammy Strawberry turned round and said, "Well, you, sir, are not even an artichoke, and you don't come from Jerusalem. Jerusalem. So suddenly, the wise old robin, who'd been sitting on the fence and is always the gardener's friend, hopped down and decided to sort out the fracas of fruit and the vexation of the vegetables. He tapped his beak onto a stone and said, "What's going on here?" So they explained that Sammy Strawberry hadn't been very kind. And the wise old robin said, "Well, it's true. Mr. Rhubarb, you aren't really a fruit. You are a vegetable, but you're a wonderful vegetable, because in the spring you help us to make lovely sweet pies at the time when all your fruit friends are shivering and hidden away because it's too cold for them." And then he turns and says, "And Tommy, it's true, you are a fruit, but so is Mr. Cucumber, and together you go into the wonderful salads in the summer when the days are long and hot." And then he turned to Archie and he said, "Archie, it's true, you aren't an artichoke and you are not from Jerusalem, but you are in fact a wonderful sunflower from Italy, and as well as giving us beauty, you give us food year after year, so you are a very special vegetable, even if you aren't what you thought you were." Anyway, suddenly Robin became aware that Sammy Strawberry was having a snigger. And Mr. Robin turned and slowly said to him, "Sammy Strawberry," he said, "not only are you very unkind, but you are also not what you seem, because you are not a berry." There was a collective gasp across the potager. And the robin continued, "If you look at many things in the vegetable patch, they are not quite what they appear to be. But what matters most is that we are kind to each other, as we all have to live next to each other in the vegetable patch. And we need to make sure that we don't say things without thinking." Suddenly, Sammy felt very small and very silly. Luckily, it was going to be a beautiful summer, and all the vegetables and fruit soon forgot about the day that Sammy discovered he wasn't quite what he thought he was. And so they all lived happily ever after.